All right, we're live. Okay. Well, let's get ready to get here started. Let's see who shows up here in the next few minutes. All right. Well, welcome in. Sorry about that. I ended up getting a text message from somebody I was waiting on. Anyway, welcome to Daddy Duck in the blind. In the blind with Daddy Duck, rather. Grab yourself a cup of coffee or your favorite beverage and sit down, guys, because we're going to talk about some real duck hunting and things that are going on in the duck hunting world as we speak. Also, I want to thank Salt Creek Custom Ammunition, True Lock Choke Tubes, and Biscuit Built 3D. These are the three sponsors that bring you in the blind with Daddy Duck. So, if you're here for the first time, do me a huge favor. Leave a comment. Tell me who you are, where you're from. And if been here before, just give me a shout out so I'll know who's in here. All right. There we go. We're getting ready to get started. All righty. So, we're going to start off real quick about the duck populations and what's going on right now. I've got a lot of contacts around the country. I've got guys that are having good seasons. I've got guys that are having bad seasons. I've had guys that have had, they're not shooting anything. They've shot one or two ducks this entire season. If you followed me back last spring, people were asking me my predictions and they asked me predictions over the summer. And I kept telling them, I kept telling everybody, we've had some bad years, and I think that we're not going to see that big of a migration. What's up, Bentley? How you doing? We're not going to see that great of a migration this year, especially on the Atlantic Flyway where I'm at. And true to course, um, it's happened. Real good friend of mine lives up in Virginia. We were talking the other day, and he flat out said, I think he's shot maybe two or three ducks this entire season. They're just not there. There's some guys out west, Kentucky Hunter. What's going on? They're saying the same thing. That they're just not seeing the amount of ducks. Even my good friend Cody from After Five Outdoors, when I went up there to his home state of Minnesota, he was even saying, he said, "Man, I'm sorry, we just don't have the ducks." And I'm like, "Dude, you don't understand. I've seen more ducks in 5 days than I've seen in the past 10 years, and that includes not only just South Carolina, but about three different trips that I've taken since I came here. You've got ducks. You just don't. They're not. But he's still, again, not seeing the amount of ducks that he normally sees. So, what is the issue? Well, I can boil it down to a couple things, and there's really no set one thing that's causing this. Um, I've said it over and over and over. Ducks need three things: they need food, water, and rest. And if they have all three of those, they're not going anywhere. We as duck hunters are the ones that need weather. We as duck hunters need that weather to grizzly. We need those. We need the weather in order to drive the ducks down. But as long as there's open water, as long as there's a food source, and as long as they're not overpressured, they're just not going to go anywhere. When I was there in October, the majority of the birds were still in Canada. We were seeing blue winged teal in October. I had just come back from Louisiana in September for their opener. We 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 shot a good many teal the 3 days I was there. It wasn't limits every day, but we shot birds. What's up, Charles? We we shot birds and we saw birds, but there were still blue wings up north. It was just not enough weather to push them down. There wasn't enough pressure, and they had open water and food. That was all it is. I mean, that is all it is. Now, there's some other factors when it comes into bigger ducks and later in the year, and we'll probably get into that in a little bit. But guys, listen, chime in if you've got got comments you want to make on this particular topic. Uh, Put them in the comments down below. Let me know. I want to get some feedback from you guys. Um, I'm here in South Carolina. I've gone a total of maybe 6 times since I got back from Minnesota, mainly hunting small beaver ponds for wood ducks. But I did hit the lake, and I've hit a river. I've gone to a river twice, and hit the lake once, hit the swamp once. I'm not seeing that many ducks, even wood ducks. I'm just not seeing them. They're just They could be somewhere else. And I've had reports of ducks in other places of the state. But here, where I normally hunt, Randy, what's going on? I'm just not seeing them. Um, it 10, 6, 10, 15, 30. That's not a lot of ducks. Okay, that's not a lot of ducks. So, but I'm just not seeing them. So what is it? What is causing these ducks to stay up north right now? Now we've had some cold weather. We've had some serious cold weather to drop down, which should have brought something. Um, but I'm not. Regular duck season here in my area just doesn't have much at all. But I'm not in a flyaway either. Correct. I can't exactly remember where you're at. But it depending on what end of the state you're on, or if you're dab in the middle. Yeah, just not many there where you're at. Um, I can sit here and tell you, I'm not going to put the blame on one person or one group. I think it is a bunch of things that have uh, happened over the years, and it's just all sitting down on top of us. Now, I haven't done much research into it to actually find the numbers myself. It's just what I have been reading from other people. But I have North Central. Is that up there? Yeah, okay, I got you. I have been reading and talking to some people about what's going on, and personally, in my personal opinion, um, especially on the Atlantic Flyway, is urban sprawl. There's It's just too many houses are getting built in traditional wintering areas, and the ducks get here, and there's nowhere to go. Um, do we still have a lot of ducks on the Atlantic Flyway? I think we do. If you go to Florida, you're gonna see them. You're gonna see them all stacked up. I mean, stacked up. It may not be the best ducks. I mean, there may, depending on what you consider the best. Most people consider the best or puddle ducks and mallards in particular. But you go to Florida, you go into Okeechobee and into these areas, you're going to see a lot of ringnecks. You're going to see some good ducks, some widgeon, wood ducks, depending on where you're at. Lots of teal, shovelers, that kind of thing. An occasional pintail, some mottled ducks. Um, so you're going to see those things. You know, and why are they not here? We're 2 states above them. Why aren't they here? There's no food. I can tell you there's just not enough food to keep them here. But and I mean that on the public areas. Now, private impoundments, they've got plenty of food. They got plenty of food, they got plenty of water, and they got plenty of rest, and those ducks just aren't going to move. Simple. Until they get up and somebody starts shooting at them, then they'll get up and fly around, and guess what? They're going to come right back because that's where they've been safe, and that's where there's food, and they're not getting banged on every 5 minutes in the public areas. So, again, urban sprawl is one thing, traditional wintering areas. Keep going back to food, water, rest. And that takes me, what's up, RD? Early teal and wood duck season here is good. We are loaded with wood ducks. Yes, I had one of the best early teal, early wood duck seasons in Kentucky, probably right around the corner from where you're at. I had a really good time when I was there. So there's some, and I'm sorry, I've been waiting on these text messages from some people getting me some information. Okay. Another thing is and I mentioned it, the private impoundments. And this is pretty much for the yes, it is on the Atlantic Flyway. Yes, it's not on the Mississippi Flyway. Yes, it's on the Central Flyway, and that's corn ponds. And these are not just 1 and 2 acre corn ponds I'm talking about. I'm talking about thousands and thousands of acres. They've made a mini refuge. And whether you are whether you're a fan of corn ponds or whether you're not a fan of corn ponds, that is something that's personally, I'm against it. To me, it's just legalized baiting. But what a man does on his property as of right now is up to him. I'm not going to tell a man he can't do it. I'm just going to say I don't approve of it. I just don't care for it. I'm more into a moist soil type impoundment, so to speak. But these thousands of acres have created a refuge. And these guys that own it they're not going to go out there and hunt every spot every day and run those ducks off. It's just not going to happen. They're going to stay right there. They just fly to another side of the property. So that's one of my things. I think that's what the problem is. There's these massive corn ponds are all over the place. Whether they're built privately or built in conjunction with DU or Delta or whoever, I don't know personally, but I'm just saying. I think that's one of our problems why the ducks aren't migrating southward as they did, 25 years ago. It's just not happening. The ducks around here in the Atlantic Flyway, especially in my home state of South Carolina, you can't sling a dead cat without hitting a corn pond or a private impoundment somewhere. They're everywhere. I'm not hating on private land. Again, I'm not hating on it because I wish I had some private land. I wouldn't plant corn. I'd plant a moist soil and then deal with it. That's just what I want to do. Maybe one day I'll have it where I can plant my own little spot, not plant, but fix it up in moist soil with, native vegetation, such as arrowhead and smart weeds and stuff like that. I think that's the ticket. But these ducks aren't migrating anymore. They're just not doing it. I did a video years ago on this same thing, and it holds true. Corn is a very powerful thing, and while we're on it, if they don't want to outlaw corn ponds, give me a few minutes and I will. That was going to be another topic here in a minute. Um, if they don't want to outlaw corn ponds, that's fine, but allow us as public hunters to pour corn. When when the idea of baiting for waterfowl came about, it was right after the market hunting days, and they would these market hunters would go out and they would shoot thousands upon thousands upon thousands of ducks a day. And then they outlawed punt guns. If you're familiar with a punt gun, at the same time, then they started having limits on ducks, and about the same time, it was like 25 ducks a day that you could shoot. Y'all got to forgive me. I got to talking so much that I got a case of the hiccups. But you can shoot up to 25 ducks a day. Well, most of the guys were pouring corn out for the ducks. So they outlawed punt guns, they outlawed market hunting, they outlawed baiting. And then years later, they passed a law. They passed the law that where you could grow corn and then, while it was still on the stalk, flood that field. To me, that's just legalized baiting. So if we're going to continue with that, why not just go ahead? We now have seasons. Most all across the country is a 60-day season, except I think the West Coast. And if somebody wants to fact check me on it, let me know. Everything I think is 60 days, and you can shoot 6 ducks. Except on the West Coast where I think you can shoot 8. Again, correct me if I'm wrong. Now, I'm correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that's what it is. And but we have seasons, we have limits, we have 7. Thank you so much, Philip. Hey, how you doing? I ain't seen you in a long time. You have seasons, you have limits, you have shell capacity. You can only carry 3 shells in the gun. Why not? Why not bring back pouring a bag of corn if you can grow it and flood it? Because I don't know how many of y'all are here are farmers. I'm not a farmer, but I do know enough that corn does not grow in water, and corn farmers do not flood their cornfields for corn. They just don't. It's not done. So to me, it's just basic common sense here. So either completely outlaw the corn ponds, or bring back, or let us pour a bag of corn out, or 2 bags, or whatever it is. Let us do that as a public duck hunter to get some birds to coming in to where we want, where we hunt, or where we're allowed to hunt. So there's my little deal on what's going on with the ducks right now. I think they're still up north. I think these ice eaters, these heated corn ponds, so to speak, these heated ponds, these ice eaters they got in there, the corn ponds themselves, it's just, it's just keeping the ducks up. All right, what did you say? I understand the logic, but I can only imagine what Santee would look like if you could pour corn out. Oh, no, I don't. I don't really think you could. It'd probably bring back a heyday. So let me go into history about Santee real quick. And since you mentioned Santee in particular, and you wanted to know about my duck hunting experience when I started, I'm 60 years old, and I killed my first duck when I was 7. Okay, I killed that on that day. I shot 2 green winged teal off the Savannah River, down South Carolina side, but across from Savannah, Georgia. So Duck hunting here was absolutely fabulous, unbelievable. And you have to remember that that would have been about 1970, about 1979 when I shot my first duck, I guess. And the lake itself was built in 1939. Um, I know what it would look like in Core Sound, Eastern North Carolina. Yeah, yeah, I know what it looked like too myself. Um, the Santee Cooper Lakes were built around 1939. I think it was like 1940 when it was actually completed, 100% completed. But it was, but all that area, and those of you who are familiar with the Santee area and the Sparkleberry swamps and whatnot, all of those did not look like it does now. There were massive, massive oak tree, acorn tree flats, swamps. There were open holes in there. There were small creeks that ran through there. This is all before the flooding. And when they started flooding and that swamp started flooding, all that water went into those acorn flats. And it was perfect. It was absolutely perfect for puddle ducks. If any of y'all have ever been to the Biomeda in Arkansas, that's what it was like. I mean, there was the ground was hard. Acorn trees were good. There were acorns falling all over the place. The ducks um, would leave the refuge, like the Santee Refuge, and they would fly in two different directions. Some would fly straight north. Um, oh no, there were no impoundments. There were no impoundments whatsoever back then. There was no impoundments, none whatsoever. Um, these ducks would fly basically from the Santee National Refuge. They'd fly north, and the best way I can do it, if you're looking at a map and you find the Santee National Wildlife Refuge, look for I-95, and they would fly north to I-95 to a little swamp called Sammy Swamp, which is around the Paxville, South Carolina area. And they would hit that swamp, and then they would turn slightly to the left and head straight to another swamp called Pacala, and that is in between Sumter and Manning. And there's where half of the ducks, and when I say ducks, I'm talking about mallards, they would head that way. What's up, Jeff? They would head that way. The other half would get up and they would fly to Sparkleberry Swamp. And there were no impoundments back then, none. These were all ducks were going in the swamp. They would go to Sparkleberry Swamp. They would go up into the watery swamp around Eastover. If any of y'all been on Highway 378, know where the Eastover Hunt Club is, that was still there. That was there. They would fly there, the Sumter Watery gun clubs across the river. They would go all the way up to even back then was the watery prison system. And there was a series of dugout ponds where they dug sand and stuff out to make roads and whatnot throughout the prison system and on the highways. And they made these huge ponds. It was all kind of swamps. They were all filled with acorns. And these ducks would just go all up in there. And there were ducks everywhere. To give you kind of an idea of what was going on. And let's see here if I can remember the date. Let's see if I can remember that. I'm trying to. In 1968, there was the very first South Carolina Duck Calling Championship, which was held in Mill Creek, South Carolina. So those of y'all who've ever left Sumter, went through Manchester State Forest, and was on the way to Sparkleberry Swamp, there's a little side road. It's called Mill Creek, and that was Mill Creek. The Mill Creek Plantation is now, I believe, part of the park system. And That was where the very first duck calling contest was. Well, I can't remember the name of the winner. I wasn't born. I was only 3 years old when this happened, but that winner went on to. It was a state calling contest, so he went on to Arkansas in 1968. The limit for mallard ducks in Arkansas was one. You heard me correctly. It was one duck. And you can still what I don't know what the limit I don't remember what the limit was here in South Carolina, probably 4 or 5 maybe. Um, but you guys from Arkansas would come here. They would come here to hunt. I mean, they would come here and hunt ducks because we had them. They were everywhere. I mean, it was nothing to shoot a limit of mallards. Now, I'm not saying you did it every day. I'm not saying it was that kind of thing. But the chances of what's up, Robert? I'm glad you can make it, buddy, and we'll get to you in just a minute. But the ducks, we had plenty of mallards. We had ducks all over the place. Wood ducks, mallards, black ducks, true black ducks, not model ducks, but true black ducks, pintails, widgeons, and they were all going in the swamp. Teal, I mean, they were everywhere, and just you had to go and find them. But when you could park your boat somewhere and you could hear them and figure out where they were at. They were everywhere. It was nothing to shoot a limit. Now, like I said, it wasn't every day. Um, yeah, you'd regularly shoot a full limit. Yeah, I mean, and again, there was just like the guys that are pure mallard hunters or mallard purists. They would shoot their limit of mallards and then just go on. They wouldn't even mess with wood ducks. I was a kid and I wanted to shoot wood ducks, but we couldn't because we were waiting on the mallards. In the good, what we call the good ducks, the mallards and the black ducks and whatnot. But you could regularly shoot a limit. I mean, it wasn't nothing to do that. And things started changing, and I can tell you now, one of the major the Hoosier Outdoorsman. Hey, buddy, what's going on? And I can tell you now that the biggest thing that happened to Santee was it got old. It got old. You can't keep an oak tree in water and expect it to keep producing acorns. It's not going to happen. So when we had low water years, the summer droughts and there was low water in the lakes and in the swamps, the acorn trees produced acorns, and the next year you would have ducks. You may have to wait a year. Of course, there was warming. I mean, they got warm back then. It was warm back then. I can remember hunting as a kid, Christmas Day, and it was 75, 80 degrees, but we were still shooting mallards. Why? Because there was food in the swamp. There was food in the swamp. And I keep saying it over and over and over again. Food, water, rest. That's all ducks need. There was a time at Santee where there was a cutoff. Anything below I-95, I believe, was 12 o'clock. You couldn't be hunting after 12 o'clock. You had to be out of the swamp. And those regulations got lifted. Again, no rest. And today, yes, I drive a mud motor. When it's running, I have a mud motor. But you got people that are out there daily, running through the swamp, running those mud motors, souped up mud motors, with no, either they take the motor or they put a big one on there so it sounds like something big coming through the swamp, blaring music from their little radio boxes, little turtle boxes, and it's just spooking the ducks and they're moving off. And until we change these things, Santee will probably never return to its glory days. I don't think it ever will. Personally, it will never return in my lifetime. I don't think it will return in my grandson's lifetime, and he's 6 years old. I think Santee is just shot. It's done for. In my personal opinion, with corn ponds and impoundments that stretch, you know, from I-95 west all the way through Sparkleberry and up, and on both sides. I just, the public duck hunter on Santee is done for. You either do one or two things. You either head west. Well, you do one or three things, I should say. You either buy your own place, fix your own place up, head west and start shooting ducks there, or you're content with shooting two or three wood ducks and going home and calling it a day. That's the only three things you're gonna be able to do. It to me, here I think it's done for. Do you think you see more ducks even if they fly since the corn barns? Okay, so yeah, well, I shouldn't say I see more ducks, but I will say this. We still have a lot of ducks in South Carolina, but they're on these private ponds. They're on these private impoundments. Again, food, water, rest. They got plenty of food. They got plenty of water. They got plenty of rest. Most of them, if not all of them, shoot them twice a week during the season. Some may shoot them once a week. It's hey Phil, what's going on? Glad you can make it, brother. You're right, Jeff. It's changing for the worse all over. But I got guys in here that are talking specifically about South Carolina, so that's what I'm hammering on. But I agree with you. It's getting worse all over. The main thing is these private refuges, and again, I'm not. This is not private against public. I'm just stating a simple fact. The private landowner has, they have the will, the drive, and the resources to produce a habitat, which I fully agree with. I think, dude, the more habitat we have, the more ducks we have. But they don't migrate. That's where the problem is. They do not migrate as they did in the past. Hey Grant, welcome in, buddy. So again, they just don't flat out just don't migrate like they used to. You could go out. I mean, it's 50 something degrees outside right now, and there's a full moon. And as a kid, I could go outside, and even as a teenager, I could go outside this time of night and hear ducks flying over Sumter, just constantly. Just you could hear them up in the sky chattering, migrating. I can't tell you the last time I've heard that. Yes, farming for ducks has ruined duck hunting for the average guy. You are 100% correct, and that is nationwide, not just my end, but nationwide. Mark, what's going on? Sorry, I saw you step in, and I forgot to say hello. So you can see ducks, and you can see geese. You got to remember that. Unallowed somewhere around the Hicks area on Marion. Now I have no idea. I haven't heard of anything, buddy. You got to remember the Santee National Wildlife Refuge here in South Carolina was basically the final stop for the Atlantic flyway mallard. That was it. They just didn't come. They went into Georgia a little bit, but this was their stop. This is where they ended up at. I can remember when we would have 50,000 mallards wintering at the refuge. 50,000 mallards wintering at the refuge. That does not include all the other ducks that were there, the gadwall, the pintail, the widgeon, the wood ducks, the teal, the shovelers. All right. We had 50,000 mallards at one time. 50,000 mallards would winter at the Santee National Wildlife Refuge. I can remember those days. We're lucky now if we have 5,000 ducks, 5,000 ducks that winter at the refuge. They're hemmed up on these impounds, and again, you have guys. There's some spots in South Carolina that you can hunt 7 days a week. You want to go outside? All right. You can hunt 7 days a week here if you wanted to in certain places. Your wildlife management areas, depending on what category, if it's Cat 2, you can hunt on Wednesdays and Saturdays. If it's a Cat 1, it's a lottery draw. But there's what I call open public, and anybody can go in there. Hunters, fishermen, doesn't matter. You can all go in there. I think there needs to be some changes to that as well. I think there needs to be a cutoff, a 12 o'clock cutoff for certain areas, for areas, especially the swamp. And that's a cutoff for everything, in my opinion. During duck season, should be a cutoff for everything. You got to be out of the swamp by 11, 12 o'clock. No afternoon hunting. I know there's a lot of regulations here in duck hunting regulations, and I understand that. But, you're going to have to take drastic measures if you want a chance to see ducks come back. And I'm going to be honest. I don't see it happening. I don't see those drastic measures coming, and I surely don't see the powers to be pushing those measures because of, political and whatever interference. So there you go, buddy. I hope I've answered that question for you. It used to be something special here. We didn't go anywhere. We didn't need to go anywhere. If we wanted to go duck hunting out of state, it's because we just wanted to see something new. That was it. That was the only reason. We had people from all over the country coming here to hunt. So there's that. And so what do? You either have to be content with 2 or 3 wood ducks, an occasional other duck if you get lucky. Go somewhere, go out of state, or buy your own piece of property, or spend $20,000 on a blind for you don't even get 60 days to hunt it. You can only hunt it, twice a week. So, out west, as far as that, what I think you're trying to say, and what I'm understanding you to say, there's no difference anymore. It's getting that way out there. The way it is now for the public duck hunter is now showing up. You go to any social media outlet reference to duck hunting, and you're going to see guys who are complaining about the lack of ducks and this and that and whatnot. And you have some people who sit there and say, well, you need to scout more, you need to do this more, you need to dude, I can't be out there every day. I can't. I got a full-time job. I have to work. I cannot be out there every day. And there's the old saying, you got to pay to play. I understand that too. So, but out west, when you start heading west, the opportunities open up a little bit more. A lot of your states out west actually cater to duck hunters more than they do here. I think a lot of the powers to be, they just don't cater to duck hunters like they used to. There, um, back when I was growing up, the duck hunting was a poor man's sport. It was you were crazy if you duck hunted. You was a poor man. You couldn't hunt anything else. Um, and I mean, they do. Don't get me wrong. Now, some of their cat ones are getting better. Some of the cat twos are getting better, but they just don't cater to duck hunters like they used to. I think that's the biggest difference. But well, your own different flyways. Uh, uh, here's the thing. Your own different flyways. So you got the Atlantic Flyway, which again I tell people it's going downhill because of urban sprawl. Uh, Too many houses are being built. Too much land is being repurposed from wetlands to whatever, um, and it's destroying the wintering habitat of the Atlantic Flyway ducks. Out west, there's different flyway. Mississippi Flyway is a whole lot better than Atlantic Flyway. The Central Flyway is a whole lot better than the Mississippi Flyway, and the Pacific Flyway generally is a lot better than both of those, all three combined. So yeah, they do go. So yeah, and there's more habitat. Um, there's more ducks, and there's more habitat for them for wintering. So yeah, when you do go out west, you have a better opportunity to shoot ducks. Um, with that in mind, I've had some people ask me, that they wanted to go out west, and so I need to. Uh, Hunter Donnelly, what's going on? Glad you can make it. So I kind of want to share a little something with you. Um, for those of y'all, I went to Louisiana this September. I hunted with Working Man Outdoors, Robert Brandt, and Zach Garrison. Working Man. These guys are from South Carolina, and they have started a guiding operation in Louisiana, in Mamou, Louisiana. If you want to, you can find them on Facebook. And that's who I was waiting on some text messages from earlier. Right now, they're holding a bunch of teal. They got a bunch of blue wings, green wing teal. Um, they don't have many mallards right now, but that's par for the course. Gadwall, pintails, widgeon, teal, shovelers. They got that. They got it. And I'm going back to them in on the 19th. I'm gonna be showing back up there along with Cody from After Five Outdoors, and we're gonna hunt down there for 5 days. But they're holding a bunch of teal, and they have been, and they've got a good place. So shout out to them real quick, and let them know if you're looking, maybe not this year, but next year, if you're looking for a place, get a hold of them. You can find them on Facebook, Working Man Outdoors. Um, oh, there he is. Widgeon are actually low this year. Everything else is about average. There you go. Straight from the horse's mouth. Um, so, you know, let me get back on South Carolina. When the lake started what I call dying, um, and the acorns just weren't producing, we started getting an invasive species of grass called hydrilla. I love hydrilla personally, absolutely love it. And but the electric co-ops, they don't like it because they say it clogs their turbines up. Um, when we started getting hydrilla on the lakes, we started seeing other ducks. At one time, we had mallards, blacks, some widgeon, pintails, wood ducks were everywhere. Then we started seeing other things. We started seeing more and more coots show up. And with coots, you say, well, hey, I don't shoot no coot. Well, let me explain something. You know how healthy your habitat is by the amount of coots you have. Hydrilla doesn't clog up the rice field. Amen, brother. Um, you'll start seeing other ducks. You'll start seeing things like more widgeon, gadwall, pintails. You'll start seeing divers like ringnecks, canvasbacks, bluebills, redheads. And there was a time where you could literally go out and shoot a mixed bag of divers and puddle ducks on the lake. Um, uh, no, there are two. Those are two different things. Hydrilla is a subaquatic vegetation. Hyacinth is not subaquatic; it sits on top. Hyacinth is a problem for everybody. That clogs up everything. But hydrilla also was clogging up the turbines as well. So we had hydrilla first, and hyacinth came later. But hydrilla brought in all your other ducks. You brought in your canvasbacks, and we would shoot canvasbacks on the lake. Um, well, it can get uprooted. And it was growing, and it can grow in some serious depths of water, and it was growing up um, um, submerged. You are 100%, Mike. I misspoke. You're 100% correct. Submerged aquatic vegetation, SAV, not subaquatic. I misspoke. Sorry. I admit it. I get to talking too fast sometimes. But hydrilla would grow up, and then it would grow up and get hung up in the turbine, or at least that's what they said. At least that's what they were saying. Okay. Nailed it. Yeah, hydrilla is beneficial. They would also say things about hydrilla that hydrilla collects all the bad stuff in the water, which it does, and the coots would eat it and get sick, and then the eagles would come and eat the coots, and then the eagles would die. That's what they were saying. But what I'm getting at is when we had hydrilla in the lakes, we had a lot of other ducks. We had canvasbacks. I shot canvasbacks on the lake. I shot redheads on the lake. I shot bluebills on the lake. I can't tell you how many ringnecks that I've shot on that lake. But we had other ducks to shoot. We had other ducks to hunt. You had to change up from puddle duck hunting to diver hunting, but still, you had ducks to hunt. So then they got rid of the hydrilla, and then hyacinth came in. As they were getting rid of hyacinth came in, and it just clogged up everything. All the waterways were clogged up. You couldn't hardly go anywhere. Even in a mud boat, you couldn't hardly navigate it. And now we have giant Sylvania, or GS as it's called, and it's taken over the lakes. There's only two things that kills it, and that's the giant Sylvania beetle and cold weather. And once it warms up again, it just starts growing again. So, and it's good for nothing. Nothing eats it. Nothing eats giant Sylvania. Nothing other than the giant Sylvania beetle. That's the only thing that eats it. Nothing else eats it. So it's clogging up stuff, and it spreads like wildfire. So there you go. There's the history of the Santee Lakes. And what I have seen in the past 50 some odd years on this lake, I tell you, I went out last weekend. Me and a buddy of mine went, and I think we saw maybe 6 wood ducks. That was it. That was it. And in a place where I know I should have seen ducks. It's just, I've seen too many of them fly over, to give you a passing shot, or just to see the ducks. And you know, I mean, the ultimate goal in duck hunting is to decoy them, shoot them, and then eat them. One thing I've learned is you can get herbicide that kills GS but doesn't kill the hydrilla or any other SAV. Tested, yes. Rumor has it has partnered with Santee Cooper to limit spraying in the future. Limit spraying for what? GS, hydrilla, or hyacinth? um, I don't know. I have not heard that rumor as of yet. I have not heard anything. But it wouldn't surprise me, to be honest. Hydrilla, yeah. There are some patches coming back. I will say that. I have found some. I found some patches of hydrilla. I've also found some eelgrass that has been replanted. They've replanted. I know Santee Cooper has replanted some eelgrass, which is good for divers and widgeon and whatnot in certain parts of the lake. I've seen that come back. So, I mean, I am seeing some stuff, but don't get me wrong. Started this year, we've been seeing it everywhere. Cool beans. You know, we need hydrilla. You know, it's a duck magnet. I mean, there's all kind of little invertebrates and all kind of freshwater shrimps and minnows and stuff for the ducks to eat and little bugs and what have you. So it's all kind of stuff there for them to eat, and that's why it was so productive when we had tons of it. And that's little patches here and there are not going to help. We need tons of it. Stuff like arrowhead. Was it Anum? Arum, if I pronounce that right. Arum. I hope I pronounced that right, guys. I wish we could get that reestablished in places. It's a shallow water plant. Has a seed in it. It's commonly referred to as not duck corn, but maybe it is referred to as duck corn. But it has a little seed that floats for a little while. It's very shallow water. It grows in a moist soil application, so anywhere from 6 to 8 inches, about as deep as it needs to be. I've seen a little bit of that in some places, but I'm telling you, need a lot more of it. A lot more of it. In some of these WMAs, these Cat 2 WMAs to get reestablished. Just wood ducks love it, mallards, all puddle ducks love it. I'm trying to remember is it duck corn, or it may be called, some people call it duck corn. Well, there is a duck potato, and that may be there is a duck potato that looks like what I'm talking about, and it may be the same thing. It may be the same thing, but it's arum, Arum, I believe. May not be pronouncing it correctly. I talked to my buddy today about the mount that's going to hurt the baby. Yeah, it's arrowhead. It's arrowhead, arum, maybe arrow arum or arrowhead arum. There was something I was fixing to say. Now I done got off on a tangent as I normally do. Again, this is reality duck stuff, so who knows? Let's see here. Yeah, well, we need a lot more of that. We need a lot more of that moist soil aquatic vegetation. And we just need a lot more of it. I wish they can't do it. There's no way they can do it, and I understand. I just wish it would happen. I wish we'd have another drought like we did. Um, that's it. You got it. How do you pronounce that anyway? Wapato, Wapato, Wapato. Um, it was really funny because I actually posted on a duck hunting management about it. Uh, so now I forgot what they call it. Um, let's see if I can find it real quick. I'm trying to find what they what do we got here? Sometimes called duck potato, duck roots. Sometimes called duck corn. Common names: duck corn, duck potato, tuckahoe, boggaroom, and wapato. I don't know if y'all can see that or not. I don't know if it's backwards or whatever. All right, Mark, take care of yourself. Yeah, I don't know if y'all can read that. I don't know if it's backwards for y'all or not, but anyway, there it is. Um, we actually just finished a large wetland restoration and started coming up on its own. Awesome. Here in South Carolina, just I'm asking. I don't have no idea where you're from. Um, just asking. You don't have to give me an exact location. I'm just asking. In South Carolina. So, or where? What state? Just if you can tell me the state. That's pretty cool. Um, yeah, I just think we need a lot more of that stuff in our swamps. If it can be um, transplanted with ease, which should be, 'cause like you said, it is a tuber, so it should be able to. Um, uh, Midwest, okay, all right. Iowa, all right. Well, um, glad you're in here tonight. Uh, let's see here. Well, we were talking, the lack of ducks here in our state, and a lot of people I've been talking to. I'd be curious too. I'd like to move some to the lake. Yeah, me too. I know the one you're talking about. I would too. Um, you got some in the rice field. Remember, I pointed it out to you right there on the edge. I pointed several of them out to you. Y'all got a lot of food there, buddy. A lot of food. But we were talking about the lack of ducks, and we have a lot of stuff. um, you can order tubers from Keisters, Coosters. Uh, Oh, okay. Well, I'm glad you came in, dude. Hey, listen, just to let you know, it's a small channel, but I talk about reality when I'm doing my live streams and even my duck hunts. It's reality duck hunting. If it's good, it's good. If it's good, it's Kester's Nursery. Yeah, I've heard of them. It's all about reality. Um, we still got to December 31st here in South Carolina, and I'll be in Louisiana, and probably I'm going to close Louisiana season down. So here in a couple of weeks, I'll get there on the 19th. And knowing me, and I'll probably get there half a day early and aggravate the crap out of Robert for a while. But you know, the whole thing about duck hunting is the ultimate is um to shoot your ducks, decoy your ducks, shoot your ducks, eat the ducks. I mean, that's the ultimate. But don't forget what it's all about. And it's spending having a good time with your buddies. If you're hunting with your buddies, I know a lot of us um, are, some of us solo hunt, but you're hunting with your buddies, you're having a good time, you're cooking breakfast in the blind, you're joking, you're laughing, you're cutting up, you're having a good time, you're getting some of the day-to-day stresses off of you in that short a period of time. So what I'm basically getting to is um it's not always about limits. It's about having a good time. It's about making memories. One of my favorite one of my favorite memories here recently was when I took my dad, who was 85, 86 years old, and we went to Louisiana a year ago, last September. And we shot a few teal, and he caught some redfish, and we had a really good time. And it was one of my, you know, all-time favorite memories. Another favorite memories, we were in Arkansas, and we shot 3 ducks that day. But it was my son, who was probably maybe 10, shot his first mallard, his first duck, and it happened to be a mallard duck. And we only shot 3, so a lot of it's about memories and what all you put into it. So don't think for 1 second that it's all about limits. Don't worry about what everybody's doing. Um, um, on social media and posting these pile pics. Be proud of, you shoot a duck, be proud of it. It's like Fred Bear used to say, and I'm paraphrasing here, but that deer that you shot, it doesn't matter how big he is. It don't matter how big the horns. It doesn't matter if it's a doe. Um, you took a wild animal, and you're going to turn it into food for your family. So, there you go. Take that for what it's worth. Or come to strive, witness the struggles. Our season runs of January 25th. For future reference, yes, and I will be there until that day. Would love to. We keep talking about it, trying to extend our seasons down there. We should reciprocate. Get you fellas up here for early woodies and teal. Okay, y'all can do that. Always down to meet new people. A wild animal. You're a wild animal, Cody. You're a filthy animal. Yeah, and meeting new people, man. I'm the same way, Hunter. I love meeting new people. And talking ducks and duck hunting. Do I know it all? Nope. Do I claim to know it all? Nope. No salt or sweetener. um. All right, Jeff. I appreciate you stopping by, man. Thanks for coming in. Take care of yourself. Um, You know, duck hunting is, I've said it. You know, it's part of my moniker. Duck hunting is not a passion. It's not an obsession. Duck hunting is a lifestyle, 365 days. And it is, dude. I mean, uh, I I can sit there and I don't care where I'm at, what time of the year is. Um, I can sit there and talk to you about ducks and duck hunting and that kind of thing. You know, all day long. I can spend hours. You're ready for the warm weather and disappointment. A couple weeks, I'll have my waders on. I got a feeling you're going to wear your waders from Minnesota all the way down to Louisiana. I'll take a break from -20. Hey, man, I would love to do that one day. I've never hunted Iowa. I would love to go up there and hunt with you. Um, so, yeah, keep in touch. Please keep in touch. Thanks for stopping in, and don't forget to hit that little like button. How's your season going? I'm assuming you're asking me. Here in South Carolina, I've shot one duck. One duck in South Carolina. And I've been about 6 times. Uh, Here in South Carolina, we got to about the 30th or 31st. I can't remember exactly what the last day is, but I'll be in Louisiana and I will be closing their season out. Their season ends the 25th, and I'll get back home, and then I may be able to go one more time, but I don't know yet. North Dakota is the answer. Um, I'm hoping, you know, I may get one more shot at South Carolina this coming weekend. Right in Des Moines. Got some land just east there. We hunt rice mix, of oxbow and flooded crops. Gotcha. Well, shoot me an email one of these days, buddy. We'll keep in touch. Do I ever hunt bluebills and ringnecks? I used to. I used to all the time when we had a bunch of them here. Um, used to clobber them. Ducks have left this state over the weekend. Went from seeing 3 to 4 thousand to 30. Oh yeah, they're gone. I got a couple of beaver ponds that I got access to, so I may hit it one or twice. Halligan, what's going on? Boat. Well, I mean, there were sometimes most of the time we're hunting from a boat, but here on the lake, on Santee, when we used to have them, man, we'd stand beside a tree and on the edge on one of the islands. Yep. I hear you, buddy. Y'all doing good up there? Your season's still in? The holiday hole. Hunting and stuff with J&J. What's going on, buddy? I didn't think we could hunt the holiday hole anymore. I thought that was off limits. Oh, of course, it's after deer season now, so. The holiday hole, aka the 410 shoot. Well, hello, Boosh. Glad you can come in. Looks like a change in the weather in the south over the next week or so. Is it going to get hot or cold? I hadn't even looked at it. Well, I got while we're sitting here waiting on that answer, cooler from what I saw. Good. Cold, baby. Today's the 5th, isn't it? Yeah. Just a little bit of trivia. In 3 days, 40 years ago on January 8th, which by the way is Elvis Presley's birthday, I stepped off of a green bus onto some yellow footprints at Parris Island, South Carolina, 40 years ago. So, yep, I'm old. 41 years old. 41 years. Holy crap. If anybody can bring a cold front to the south from the north, it'll be Cody. I'll tell you, we were in Kentucky turkey hunting, and the day I got there, it was almost 80 degrees, and he shows up, and it snowed that night. I kid you not. We woke up and there was snow on the ground. If he can bring it, he will bring it. All right, Charles, take care of yourself. Yeah, I'm gonna be getting off of here in a little bit. My hour is we done past the hour mark. Yep, 80. It was close to 80 degrees the day before. Woke up to snow on the ground. Couldn't believe it. Oh, I still think we're gonna shoot them. And ain't nothing off the table when I get there. 15 degrees here right now. Great now. I don't even know what the temperature here is right now. 51. 51 right now. All right. So, hey, guys, listen, you got Robert Brand, who is in the house tonight, and he is the working man outdoors. If y'all are looking for a really good time down in Louisiana, message this guy on Facebook. Facebook, Working Man Outdoors. Give him a message. Get yourself something lined up and go and kill you some ducks. And if you don't kill ducks, he got a pond. We go fishing in it. I'll probably shorts and a t-shirt. Yeah, the mosquitoes come out on you. You'll be putting that long sleeve back on. I'm gonna have all my cold weather gear plus I'll have a thermocell in the bag. Caught 80 crappie Saturday. Dang gum. On the lake. Hashtag loaded. I hear you. All right, guys. Well, I'm fixing to get on out of here. I do have to work tomorrow morning. I do want to appreciate each and every one of y'all coming in. And I think we had a good night tonight. I had a lot of comments. I kind of enjoyed this tonight. I hope y'all did. Again, this live stream is brought to you by Salt Creek Custom Ammunition. Listen, if y'all looking for some good ammo, get a hold of Keith G and get you some good ammo. Also with True Lock choke tubes, you take Keith's ammo and combine it with True Lock, and you got something special. Also by Biscuit Built 3D. And before y'all leave, this is, and I did a video on this, but I just wanted to show y'all. This is the Decoy Doctor. It's a swimmer. You can order this thing as a kit, or you can DIY it yourself and put it on your own decoy, or you can buy it. The cool thing that I really do like about this is this right here is a tow bar. It attaches right here, and it will pull another decoy for you. So you'll actually have two in motion. Pretty cool idea. Pretty cool deal. Biscuit Built 3D. Go down there. Look them up. They got a website. If you do happen to call Robbie on it, let him know that I sent you over there. Anyway, guys, y'all take care of yourselves. Y'all have a good one. Y'all have a great week. Happy New Year to each and every one of you. I hope your season gets better, and I hope everything just goes great for you this year. And we will see y'all next time on Daddy Duck 365. Y'all have a great night and a great, great week. Good night, y'all.